across the first three segments, and rightfully so. The leaked voice note scandal plaguing the People's National Party. It has created questions about the state of the opposition party, playing into suggestions that the opposition is more shadow than cabinet, the future of its leadership, and whether internal divisions could become a public liability. While Mark Golding has sought to distance the executive of the party from this issue, he was forced to admit on Sunday at the NEC meeting that the people heard in the voice note plotting against the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority and its CEO, Major General Anthony Anderson, that those people are members of the People's National Party. He didn't name them, and he also didn't, you didn't hear a rebuke from the PNP president. What we got from the PNP president, the strongest line from the PNP president against what was heard in those voice notes is that he says those recordings do not represent the official position of the PNP or any policy of the PNP. No repudiation, though, no condemnation from the People's National Party president. We have with us political commentator Jermaine Barrett, and we're also hoping to be joined by Kevin O'Brien Chang in a few ticks. But top of the evening to you, Jermaine Barrett. Welcome back to Lead Story.
Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers, your listeners.
Indeed, you've heard the PNP president, in his own words, saying this was a WhatsApp group formed by individuals within the People's National Party, within the party, and the views expressed were their personal views. So that's an admission from the party president that these are actual PNP members in this voice note, but he sought to distance the executive from it. Is that enough, Jermaine Barrett? Should people be fired over this?
Absolutely inadequate, insufficient, paltry to say the least. And the fact is, one wonders whether the current climate where there is a threat to his leadership may have in some way or the other informed this kind of tepid and firm response. It sounds like a leader who is trying to sort of have his cake and eat it, trying to present a soft rebuke of the articulated positions, but without ultimately decrying and denouncing it entirely, because that might lead to some fracturing within the PNP base. I'm not sure. I'm just positing some explanations here. But what is absolutely correct is that political opportunism aside, he ought to have punished the two persons who were caught on tape making those putrid remarks, those insensitive and disgusting remarks. They ought to frankly be fired.
I didn't hear you there. You trailed off there, Jeremy Barrett. You're saying, quite frankly, they should be fired.
Yes, absolutely. I understand that the male in the clip is a sitting councillor.
That's the suggestion.
And that I think represents the fact that certainly, at least if you're to cauterize this issue and minimize it to the smallest extent possible, it is still unacceptable. The fact that he and he alone, assuming that that's the case, he and he alone holds these views and would wish to promulgate views about stalling the rescue mission of the government for the people of Jamaica with respect to Hurricane Melissa. Absolutely unacceptable. And it is a stance that I think deems him unqualified to hold that position as a representative of the people of Jamaica.
Which is what you've basically preempted my next question, Jeremy Barrett. Before you, we had the boss of the Jamaicans for Justice on, Michael Jackson, who says these individuals heard in these leaked voice notes have disqualified themselves from representational politics. It's a strong position to take, but I'm hearing from you that you support it.
Absolutely, I support it. And what is needed now is for the leadership of the People's National Party to take a stance that aligns with that position. You see, the People's National Party, to their credit, have been consistent and strong in rebuking corruption. We've heard countless statements from the leader of the opposition about him not standing up for corruption, and a lot of the campaigning at the last general election in 2025 was about an anti-corruption stance. They made a big issue of the Integrity Commission report against the Prime Minister. That was central to their campaign messaging. Again, promulgating a narrative that corruption is antithetical to the values of the People's National Party. Well, after all of that talk, after all of that chatter, here comes the opportunity now to put to the test that which was articulated, on multiple political platforms. But unfortunately, they're failing. They're failing miserably, and their credibility is in the rubbish bins right now, because Jamaicans aren't trusting them as being people worth believing when they say one thing and do, quite frankly, the opposite.
Strong words there, Jeremy Barrett. Has the PNP, I want to be sure this is what I'm hearing from you, has the PNP lost all of its anti-corruption credibility capital in this scandal?
We are some distance away from a general election. And, we have this thing in Jamaica called the 9-day wonder. So we're certainly more than 9 days out from the general election. But I think it does degrade to a significant extent their credibility and the capital that they need to rescue power from the Jamaica Labour Party. Now, I want to stress this point, and I want for all of Jamaica and all of your listeners to hear me and hear me well, that this is not in any way a defense of the Jamaica Labour Party. I know that people on social media will drag me through the mud as they are doing now. But I'm not at all defending the Jamaica Labour Party, because quite frankly, while this issue is now an opportunity for lashing the PNP, and I will lash them when they need to be lashed, as is the case now, the JLP have operatives in their ranks that are saying, quite frankly, similar or worse things. So it is something that affects the body politics of this country, and nothing short of consistent leadership will root it out, root and stem. That is what is needed. So, for example, I heard an interview just a while ago with Senator Marlon Morgan, basically equivocating and sort of trying to sparse the issue surrounding Wheatley and him not being fired with respect to the adverse findings from the Integrity Commission, right? And I'm saying, but here it is. You can't on one hand be bashing the PNP, but you have this monstrosity in your midst, and you're refusing to deal with it in a way that would lead to Jamaicans feeling confidence in you as being a superior party to the alternative. So right now, I as a Jamaican, and I'm sure many Jamaicans feel this way, no better barrel, no better herring, or no better herring, no better barrel, quite frankly.
He labeled it the mother of all scandals, that Senator Morgan did. Do you agree with him?
It is significant. Whether or not it's a mother, the father, cousin, or auntie, I'm not sure, but it certainly it ranks very high. This is absolutely disgusting. Every single time I think about it, I feel an upset in my stomach, because right now I'm in Montego Bay, St. James, and around me and in communities farther afield in Western Jamaica, people are suffering. People are suffering to extents that most of those people who live in their Eiffel Towers and attend Parliament don't understand. And it is clear that they don't understand, because they have uttered it out of their own mouths. This sort of unempathetic and foolish commentary from the PNP operatives is reflective of the fact that our politics is not, by and large, designed to serve the people of Jamaica. It's designed to eke out political opportunism. That is what it is, and that is absolutely corrupt.
It is absolutely corrupt to what we heard in those voice notes. And this is, every now and then people say, this is a scandal, that is a scandal. But clearly, this is a scandal. And it is entirely unfortunate what the country heard in those voice notes, Jeremy Barrett. And the more you think of it, is the more you can't make sense of what is really being offered by the PNP members. How did we even get to this point, Jermaine Barrett?
We got to this point because leaders tolerate this kind of putrid commentary, and they themselves, I would contend, I don't have evidence of it, but I think that to a large extent, people who are deep into the politics know that the political leaders themselves get caught up in this kind of conversation as well. Yes? So it's a part of our political culture. And I say, that a person might think it's exhausting, and quite frankly, they'd better spend their time doing other things and they just disconnect from the politics. But I want for people to understand that, listen, Jamaica belongs to every single one of us, and we as citizens of this great and beautiful country have an obligation to fight for it, to fight for good governance, to defend that which is right, because guess what? It is ours. It is ours. And so I will continue to fight. I'll take every platform I can find to articulate a total denouncement of those kinds of comments, because I think it is fundamentally bad for Jamaica and the democracy.
Should the PNP president say whether or not there was any condemnation from anyone in the party after these voice notes were sent? He said it wasn't an official group, but were members of the NEC in that group? What did they say? How did they respond? Should the public be given all of that information?
Well, I don't know that the public needs to be given that information. That's neither here nor there to me. I think what needs to happen is that he, as the leader of the party, needs to come out, albeit delayed, but he needs to come out and he needs to say in the strongest terms that the party denounces this very putrid comment. This comment that is antithetical to what a party should be, which is to stand for the interest of the people whom they represent. You see, leadership, governance, politics is a science of governance. Governance is about administering resources, and here it is that you're having people who, because of the privilege vested upon them to administer public resources, they would wish to administer it in a way that harms the people who are already in a broken and battered state because of Hurricane Melissa.
It is mind-boggling, Jermaine Barrett. Thank you so very much for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. All the best.
Indeed. Well, that's where we're going to leave it this evening on this deepening voice note scandal plaguing the People's National Party, but more anon. We'll take the break right here. When we come back, we'll talk matters touching